The expression limit as x approaches 3 of x cubed minus 27 divided by x minus 3 represents the derivative of a function f at some number a. Identify f and a. So we're going to want to write the limit definition of the derivative. And rather than trying to memorize formulas, I recommend, if you can, to try and picture where the formula comes from. In other words, imagine that we have the graph of some function, and this is not the function that is given in the problem. This is just some random function. And imagine that you have 2 points. We have a point here and another point up here. And we're going to want to give these some coordinates. And we'll call this one, the x-coordinate of this one, A. And for this one, I'll just give it an x-coordinate of x. Okay. And then we have corresponding y-coordinates. If this point has an x-coordinate of A, it has a y-coordinate of f of A, since it's the function f of x. And then this point, since it has an x-coordinate of x, is going to have a y-coordinate of f of x. And so we can calculate the slope of the line connecting those 2 points. That would be the secant line. That's just change in y over change in x. So in this case, since we have the points with y-coordinates f of x and f of a, the change in y would be f of x minus f of a. And then in the denominator, we're going to have change in x. That would be just plain old x minus a. Okay, and that's the slope of the secant line. Now, I want the slope of the tangent line. So in order to do that, I'm going to let this point right here get closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to this other point right here. In other words, on the x-axis, this x is going to approach a. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the limit as x approaches a. And that is going to be the value of the derivative at a. Now let's look at what we have. So we have the limit as x approaches 3 of x cubed minus 27 divided by x minus 3. Well, if you look at the definition down here, x approaches a. So let's try letting a be 3. That kind of makes sense here. It also makes sense for the bottom, x minus a, x minus 3. This thing right here, f of x, is what comes first here. We have x cubed. Okay, well, let's try that. Suppose we have f of x equaling x cubed. And you can just try this out. If it doesn't work, you try something else. Let's look at the definition and see if it works. So if I were to plug this in, I would get the limit as x approaches a, looking over here. So a is 3, plug in a 3, of f of x, okay, that's x cubed, minus f of a is 3, so that would be 3 cubed, all over x minus a, that would be x minus 3. Okay, well that equals the limit as x approaches 3 of x cubed minus, and what's 3 cubed? 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. And then we have x minus 3. So you can see that this is the same thing. So this is the derivative at 3. And it would be the limit definition of the derivative.